All right, so today is Tuesday, January 25th, and this is Tuesday Talks. It's a weekly gathering with church communicators. Oh, okay, good, it's working. Weekly gathering with church communicators talking about church stuff. Sometimes we tackle local church questions. Sometimes it's just information coming out from the conference or districts. Whatever it is, hopefully it's an outlet, a gathering where we can hear from each other and be in the know, understand what resources are coming up, what important events are coming up, and from the local church perspective, then you can take that information and either share it with the appropriate parties or take that information, think about, is this something that I could use? Would this make my life easier? Would this make ministry more functional at my church? And I personally think, better yet, if at a local church you are thinking about that and then you've got questions, or you think like, that sounds good, but it would be so much better if you did this, and then brought that feedback back to a Tuesday talk or via email where we can share it later, that's where we all win. It's that two-way conversation that really makes this happen. And so each week, the content that I share is typically generated from those email questions or email mentions about, hey, did you know about blah, blah, blah. And so that's how I come up with the content. And hopefully it's turning out to be relevant for you guys, useful. If you need anything else, please send me an email, ask the question, make the suggestion. All right, so let's get started for today. First of all, does anybody have any questions or anything to share today that's burning in your mind? No? Okay. Then I'll go ahead and get us started. So the first item is kind of an interesting event. I don't know that we've shared information about this in the past. It's from Reverend Dr. Osias Segura Guzman, and there's an event on February 3rd where it's a virtual itineration from regional missionary. Let's see. Reverend Guzman is our regional missionary with the United Methodist General Board of Global Ministries. And the idea is you go online, you participate in this, I guess it's a webinar. She calls it a episode 39. I didn't even know that there was a series, but so what you do is you attend, and any of your church members are welcome to attend as well. They just need to register. It's free, and you'll find out more about what our missionaries do. It's so different for each missionary, and if you select the class or the breakout with her name, then you'll find out more about her specifically, her ministry. So I think I included that the link in the invitation for today, but I'll include it for sure in the follow-up invitation. Any questions about that or comments? Okay. Next item is a reminder. I didn't include it in the email about the both and to be continued training event by Jason Moore. It's in 2 days, January 27th. So if you've been holding on and waiting to see, yeah, maybe we'll register, maybe not. If maybe is your answer for anyone at your church, just get them registered. It's free, and it's going to be on Thursday this week at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that would be 5 p.m. Pacific. It's online. You get access to the previous recording. You'll get access to this recording because it was a previous training event. Nothing to be lost with registering for this event. And then the other events that are coming up, we mentioned these before as well. It's the district leadership trainings. The North Conference has theirs this weekend, January 29th at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. And I'll include the link to that one in the follow-up email. And the Connectional Church District Leadership Webinar with Bishop Grant will be on February 5th at 11 a.m. And again, I'll include the link. And then the following Saturday after that, February 12th at 9 a.m. is the District Pastor let's see, no, wait, it's the Pastor and Staff Parish Relations Committee training. And there's more trainings coming up. If you want to see on your own, like if I'm not giving you enough advance notice, if you are not getting the emails from your district about when these things are coming up and save the date, you can, there's two things that I want to recommend to you guys. One is, if you don't want to get emails, okay, you can check the conference calendar. It's dscumc.org. There's a little calendar click on the top, or I think dscumc.org/calendar, or is it /events? I'll find out which one it is, and I'll send you the link to that one. You can always check there to see what's coming up down the road that maybe we haven't emailed you about yet. You can see about next year's annual conference should already be on the conference calendar. So anytime that you're wondering, well, when's that next whatever, check the conference calendar. It's likely to be there. If it's not there, it's because it's still in the works. But if you or your lay members annual conference, if any of your church leadership is not receiving conference or district emails, so the conference right now sends a newsletter once a month. The districts right now send a newsletter, I think it's every third Tuesday of the month. The schedule might change. We're actually reviewing that pretty soon with the Commission on Communications. But for now, that's the way it goes. And occasionally there's a one-off message that goes out for something, I don't know, time sensitive. Definitely messages from the bishop. Could be a COVID update. It could be who knows what. So the way you would find out, or no, what you want to do, what I would like for you guys to do is to share the dscumc.org/subscribe link with your lay members annual conference. So as soon as you've got your church officers list, I'd say send them all an email with that dscumc.org/subscribe, and then they can pick which newsletters they want to get. You really want to get them subscribed to the conference newsletter, because that's how they find out information about annual conference coming down the road. Maybe things about the deadlines that are coming up to submit a resolution or put in a rule change that'll be voted on at annual conference. That's a critical piece of keeping us all connected, and for them to have the information they need to know about how to get registered to do their voting. We've got contact information for them when you send it to us, and occasionally we might send them a communication directly. And now that we're doing this Tuesday talks and we've got the communication liaison list together, I'll also send it to you guys to let you know this was sent to your lay members annual conference. Please make sure that they found this email, or this was sent to your lay members of annual conference and your pastor or whoever else. It depends on what the subject matter is, but I'll do my best to make sure that you all know so that you can follow up with them. And I won't do that for every email that we send out to people. It's just those that are particularly sensitive or critical, that these specific people need to know this because there's a deadline and maybe they won't be able to register for annual conference. I don't know what they would, but I can't think of a good example, sorry. So yeah, that was one of the items that was in there. Do you have questions or comments so far? Okay, let's see here. So, then the only other items is two things. One is just a reminder about, if you have a job opening at your church, don't forget to either send that job opening to your district office, or if it's easier, just send it to communications@dscumc.org. Between us, we'll get it taken care of. We post it on the conference website, and occasionally it can be included like in the district area newsletter. I don't know that it always can make it in there. Sometimes it's jam-packed with stuff, or maybe there's a specific theme going on that they don't want to distract people from what's the district superintendent is trying to accomplish. So and those are my guesses on why, but it will be posted on the Desert Southwest Conference website, and at the very top there's a little classifieds button you can click on to see what's available. This week we've added 2 jobs. One is for Catalina UMC in the South District, so that's in Tucson, and the other one is for First UMC in Phoenix. The Tucson one is a church office administrator position, and the Phoenix one is, I think it's a worship music technician or worship technician. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's posted on the website. And so if you know of somebody that might fit one of those jobs, take a look today, see what's available, dscumc.org/classifieds, and maybe forward it to somebody that you know that might be a good fit in that area. Plenty of other jobs there. Hey, Jim, go ahead.
Just a question, did we get an update on where they're going to be holding the annual conference yet?
Not exactly. And yes.
Okay, maybe, okay.
Yeah, there is going to be another communication that goes out about it, but it's kind of the same. So at this point right now, especially because of the rise in COVID cases, the tentative decision, the decision right now is that it's going to be online only, with exceptions, maybe depending on COVID situation, it would be that the ordination service might happen in person, but closed to only those that are participating in the service and their family. And then we would live stream it. So that's the direction that we're going in right now, but we haven't totally ruled out doing something in person if the situation changes with COVID from now until, well, really, you'll know, we need to provide the final yes or no for in person by March 1st. That's our deadline if we want to secure GNTV as our AV company to help us run the event. So I'll have definite news then. Go ahead, Sherry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just saw that, excuse me, on the email that Carla sent out with regard to leadership training, that Dan Hurlbert on March 5th is going to be talking about the leadership conference and what's going to take place. So maybe by then decisions will be made. I don't know if that's why he's got that scheduled to do that. I don't know if everybody saw that. I appreciate that Carla sent that out.
Thanks for bringing that up. Yes, so next week, they were going to try to make it this week, but next week we're in Tuesday Talks.
Tina, can I do just a quick clarification?
Sure.
Dan will be talking about general conference. He's the head of the delegate for general conference, not the conference's annual conference.
Oh, thanks, Carla.
Yep, thank you. So yes, Dan and Paul Gomez. Yes, Dan Hurlbert and Paul Gomez were going to join us this week, but one of them is going to join us next week, probably Paul Gomez. They are our first elected delegates. Paul is the lay delegate and Dan Hurlbert is the clergy delegate to General Conference. And they've got some news to share, and they're planning on providing a written article about it that will be in the newsletter, and talking about it in the next week's Tuesday Talk. So if you guys have questions about it or whatever, start thinking about that. This is all about General Conference. Okay, I hope that makes sense. What else? Go ahead, Jim.
I had a question. The reason I was asking about annual conference for us is that I'm having trouble, encouraging anybody else to join us. I am going to be the delegate as far as I know, but several mentioned to me that if it was going to be online, that we would probably join that way, for what it's worth.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's so one of the things that we heard from GNTV, who has already had to host or support other conferences, annual conference. We weren't the first one to think that, oh, well, maybe we could do a hybrid. That way we don't have to worry about crowded numbers and we can maintain social distancing, and those that are not comfortable can just watch online. We were leaning towards doing it that way and having multiple locations, so that each district would have their own location. And I think North District would have 2 because of the geographic spanse, is that the right word? Of the space there, how far away it is. But so GNTV cautioned us that they didn't say don't do it. They just said what they've seen from other conferences that did it that way is when you're offering the option of in-person or online, they've ended up having, like, at the most, the highest attendance numbers that they had, if I remember correctly, was like 8 people at one event. Like, the majority of the members to annual conference chose to watch and participate at home instead of in person somewhere, and whether it's because of risk or I don't know. So and you know, it's expensive, and there's a lot of work to try to coordinate and work it out to manage both in person and online, where it's, you know, fair equity on both sides, to be heard, to be able to talk with each other. And you still can't really accomplish it. We haven't been able to successfully. We try, and you know, we make it work, but it's really not the best scenario, especially with that mix of in-person and online. And then to find out that the history has shown the majority just stays home anyway, that's yet another reason why we were thinking, like, why are we even going to try to do it this way when most people are choosing just to stay home? Let's just go with at home for now anyway, and you know, try to make it the best scenario possible for at home. And this would be our 3rd annual conference 100% online. So hopefully some of those uncomfortable or issues that we had in the past will be much better now that this is the 3rd time around with the practice of voting online and having those conversations. One thing that we will do different this year is, or that we're talking about doing different, is we're researching the possibility or the need, if it makes sense for us to have additional events prior to annual conference that we call legislative discussions. Because one of the major concerns or complaints that we were hearing is when we have annual conference online, there's just not as much opportunity to have conversation about the legislative items that are up for vote. So by having these legislation sessions in advance, that's all that would be on the agenda, is just to talk about it. There's no voting happening during those. It's just opportunity for people to ask questions, to, you know, tear something apart. Like, this just doesn't make sense. Why would we blah, blah, blah. So that's the plan for that. And then if we do that, then we don't have to worry about going overtime on our online annual conference. You know, all the discussions would have happened. There might still be questions or other things that happen, but it wouldn't be nearly as bad as if we hadn't had the discussion sessions in advance. So, you know, that's another thing to keep in mind. If you get an opportunity to talk to your delegates to annual conference, or I guess the official term is lay members to annual conference. That's not your church lay leader. It's the lay members that were voted to be your representatives at annual conference. Maybe talk to them about how they might feel about having those discussion sessions, and ask them questions about, you know, what did you not find helpful or useful at annual conference? If they were lay members for annual conference from your church in the past, ask them about, you know, what would be your biggest complaint? What do you wish would have happened? And send me that information. That way our sessions team, which is the team that plans annual conference, can hear from them and make better decisions based off of real people's reactions, and not just, you know, I think that it went this way, this is what I heard. You know, any concrete stuff for this year's lay members to annual conference, we'd love to get that information. So send that on in. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, then it's 10:20. Wow, we're getting so good. It's only 20 minutes of Tuesday Talks. Works for me. Thank you all.